Good morning. It's June 1st today, which means that it's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mandy. Can't even express to you how precious you are to me. Uh, as you probably know, it's hard for me to express those things physically, emotionally, in words to you as well. Recently I was out of town for a few days, and it always makes me think about just how much I long to get home to you. I don't like to be apart from you, and just to have you around as a partner in this life is the greatest thing that I could imagine. Thank the Lord for your presence in my life and for his gift of you to me. We are in John chapter 30 today, or sorry, John chapter 20 today. And one of the most important verses, maybe in all of Scripture, I think. It helps us to understand how John wrote his gospel. Obviously, we have the resurrection and all that's around that here. It's amazing portrayal from John's point of view here, talking about Mary's visit to the tomb and the emotion that's involved with that, and her recognition of Jesus when he says Mary to her. And I can't imagine what that would have been like for her and for him at that moment. And then, of course, that interaction with Thomas. And it says, Thomas says, "We have seen the Lord," or he hears, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." It's amazing that Jesus accommodates that for him. He actually lets that happen. That "you of little faith" that has been such a ringing endorsement, or actually opposite of endorsement, for the disciples all along in their walk with the Lord, is still accommodated by Jesus when he says, "Put your finger here, see my hands, reach out your hand and put it in my side. Stop doubting and believe." And then Thomas's response, "My Lord and my God." I think that's amazing. And then, of course, the next verse too. Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." I think about that in our lives. It's so difficult sometimes to believe in that which we haven't seen, and how we would have longed to have been there at the resurrection and to see as they did. But really isn't a function of seeing that. Believing really isn't a function of seeing. As we see here, even Thomas, having seen and experienced it, still had trouble believing, and there are those who still walked away doubting after this time. But then that verse that I think is so important in John 20:30 and 31, Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. John picks and chooses those things that are most relevant, as in his point of view, for us to see and believe. And he has a very strict purpose for writing, and that is that he wants to have people come to know Jesus and have life in his name. So it's very important to have the correct response, to see and believe, as Thomas finally did here. And I also love that it says many other signs were done in the presence of the disciples. There are so many that there's not room to record them all, and time to record them all, or ink to record them all, or paper to record them all. And so John just gives us those which he knows are necessary for belief. But we have to respond in order to have that life. And that's what John calls us to with his gospel.